Good afternoon. My name's Dr. Cobalt Jackson, and my favourite two interviewees are back. They've had a busy month, so there's much to discuss, and I thank them both for finding time in their schedule to come here and answer questions sent in from our loyal viewers at home. Such as this one here from a Mr. Bunny Baker, a chef from Cookham. He asks, what is a woman? What? Seems like an odd question. Oh, I think Bunny may be referring to the recent release of Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman?, which has garnered quite a reaction from both the left and the right of politics. Yeah, we've seen it. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's transphobia disguised as, intellectual curiosity. A woman is somebody who identifies as a woman. I mean, that's so hard to understand. I, for instance, don't identify as a woman. I identify as a prince, and Meghan identifies as 40. But I am 40. See? So are you saying that the concept of womanhood is completely and entirely divorced from biological fact? Oh, here we go again with this biology tripe. Researchers have shown that biological fact, as you put it, is actually steeped in white supremacy. Basically it's just a smokescreen for white-dominated bigotry. Very deep, Meghan. Are you saying, therefore, that we should get rid of biology? That's probably for the best. I'm not saying we should get rid of biology. I mean, it bought us vaccines. Oh, no. We can't be so narrow-minded and, stuck on the one-dimensional definition of gender that's offered to us by, chromosomal differences. Well, that leads us nicely onto a question here, sent in by a Charlie Chromosome, who's home alone in an aerodrome hotel in Croydon. He wants to know, is the new standard being set by crazed lefties that one can merely choose one's gender at any time and that the world must adapt to such nonsensical whimsy? Absolutely. There's more than one type of woman. You've got the old school woman, with the shiny legs and the jelly wobblers and the womb. Jelly what? And then you've got the new type of bird who have only recently been allowed to spread their wings, if you'd excuse the poetry for a second. The ones with the shapely shoulders and the hairy hands and the gas pipe. Gas pipe? Yeah, and some choose to get the gas supply cut off and some don't, But we really shouldn't be judging which bathroom they decide to use, And anyone who does is a grade A abuser. Well, returning to Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman?, there is a scene where he meets with the Masai Mara tribe in Kenya, and they are astonished to hear of the West's confusion about what a woman is, sticking as they do very much to traditional definitions. Are they abusive bigots? Look, they have their long-held spiritual beliefs, and it wouldn't be right for us to judge them. But when white men try to push their biological orthodoxy onto our progressive society, then they need to be shunned and shamed, tarred and feathered. Do you understand yet? Indeed, Harry. I think it's becoming quite clear what this is all about. Mr. Blaze McHayes, whose favourite meal is spaghetti bolognese, wants to question you, Harry, on your extraordinary performance when speaking at the UN. Who touched, was he? Moved. Shaken to his core with, something. No, Harry. Mr. McHayes says, emotion! Shaken to his core with emotion. Sometimes you just got to wait a little while. I get there. Excellent, Harry. And no, Mr. Hayes thinks you embarrassed yourself with a, and I quote, doom-laden denouncement of Western achievements and a scurrilous attack on those who don't accept a unilateral narrative with a ludicrous and thoroughly ignorant warning about the dangers of misinformation. Look, I love spaghetti bolognese too,
There's no need for Mr. McHayes to be having a go at me like this. Read some of the other questions. I bet they're more supportive.
No, don't seem to be, Harry. You won't want to hear what Mr. Richard O'Shea, friends call him Rick, has to say, nor Larry Lumpwood, or Maisie McGrady, who likes chicken jalfrezi.
Well, anyway, it's not important. If I listened to what other people thought, I might not have become the man I am.
I'd certainly go along with that. I think that the content of the speech was amazing.
Amazing.
Almost forgot you were there, Meghan, being so very quiet. Yeah, I was texting. Well, of course, let rudeness be permitted wherever we go.
Sorry?
Do you still have screen time left?
Yeah, you gave me that extra half hour on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Well, what do you say, Harry, to those critical of the doom-laden tone of your speech, delivered as profoundest midnight shrouded the glint in your eye?
I was trying to generate gravity.
Gravitas.
Gravitas, I mean. We've got some massive problems on the horizontal.
Horizon.
And the horizon. And the scourge of misinformation is potentially diabolical.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yes, but what do you say to those who accuse you of pushing a globalist agenda from your chaise lounge of luxury by pandering to narratives that centralize control?
No idea what you mean.
Just looking through the transcript here, Harry, I mean, the gall to lecture people on misinformation after some of the nonsense you two have peddled. Even worse, you act like the idea of a globalized, absolute official source of truth for the world isn't a terrifying notion.
I don't see how it is.
Which is precisely why, many would argue, you shouldn't speak on a global stage. It's embarrassing at best, and at worst, dangerous. It's a bit cringe, but that's not because of the content of the speech. That's because of his awful, awful delivery.
I thought I did better in this one.
Yeah, you did. You've moved up to awful, awful. I'm going to go back to a question we skipped from Mr. Richard O'Shea, Ricochet, to his friends. He wants to know how it felt speaking, Harry, to an almost empty UN auditorium. It was a little bit disappointing in some regards, but, as long as the cameras were there, and on me, then that's the important thing, right?
It was quite handy for me, actually. I still don't feel too comfortable speaking to large crowds. I've tried the whole visualize them naked thing, but I always see too many birthmarks. Makes me feel a bit icky. Especially that time Nancy Pelosi and her drunk husband were in the audience. Ooh.
Yeah, Harry's got quite the imagination. Indeed, he still imagines himself to be relevant. But returning to your comment, Meghan, about the cameras being on you, was that the main reason you were there? There did seem little need for you. Well, yeah, I was there to support my partner, to whom I'm consciously coupled. For now. Well, back to your attendance, Harry. Do you not think it hit rather a bum note to whine on about the dangers of climate change as though you're some kind of expert? Or even possessing the capacity required to understand climatological details?
I think you'll find the correct term is climatographical.
No, it's not. Especially considering you've taken around 30 private jet flights already this year, racking up thousands of tons of carbon dioxide emissions. Or as Mrs. Joycelyn Joyce, who was given a choice between a Rolls-Royce and a beautiful voice, asks, did you not realize just how insulting and ridiculous your ominous warning about climate change would be? How it would come across instead as a love poem to a two-tiered sociological system, with the elite flying around in jets and us proles pulling horse and cart. Yeah, look, I've heard this kind of question before, this type of criticism. I can't say I really understand. I mean, what's the problem?
Yeah. Do they expect us to drive around in some beaten-up old hunchback?
Hatchback.
Yeah, or one of those.
No, but they might say that your behaviour is mind-bogglingly hypocritical, tone deaf, or as Joycelyn Joyce says, blissfully unaware that your unwanted eruditions are unequivocally undermined by your unwillingness to undergo the lifestyle changes required to fight the utterly unambiguous existential threat you underscored your speech with. Joycelyn's obviously got a lot to say. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but I think she's concentrating far too much on how we got to New York rather than, the content of the speech. Climate change is an existential threat, of course, but it was hardly the only abomination addressed in the speech. Like, for instance, what about the plight of the poor, And we got rising inflation, which is not Joe Biden's fault.
Is caused by a collection of factors stemming mainly from Tucker Carlson.
We got the cost of living going through the roof, and wages just remaining low, which has got absolutely nothing to do with mass immigration.
It's caused by a collection of factors stemming mainly from Mark Stein.
Yes, but what about those who say you are flaunting it with Gucci this and Chanel that? Look, again, I don't understand this criticism. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Like dress up as hideous goblins on minimum wage? No, but as one of the emailers asked, could you not have gone dressed in smart but modestly priced clothes bought from a struggling high street store to emphasize your point and show genuine solidarity with those struggling to pay the bills?
Right, that's it. I'm ordering you a Ford Focus and a flannelette two-piece from Marks and Spencer's. Hey, would that make you happy? Would that make you happy?
Tom Bower's new book, the biography Revenge, Meghan, Harry and the War Between the Windsors, has been released, and it has many interesting stories.
Interesting to who? Weirdos, that's who. Like that Split guy. I mean, get a life.
Well, it's been widely publicised that you've been dreading the release of this book, Meghan. Is that true? Yeah, Tom. Good one, Tom.
Yeah, nice one, Tom. Nice one.
Yeah, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Thanks. Look, right, I think it's important to remember two things.
There's only two, so this will be easy.
Number one, my truth is my truth, and nothing's going to change that. Just because some old white guy can round up a few people and come up with a story of my life. What does that mean? It's a story. It's fiction.
That's one.
And two, just some people have it out for me, and I'm not going to be able to quieten them. Whereas you did believe you could quieten Harry's friends' un-PC jokes, Meghan, whilst in your presence, you are described to have challenged them without hesitation. Isn't that a bit embarrassing for Harry?
Well,
no, not at all. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men or women or transgender women to do nothing.
Mark Twain.
Well, actually, it's purported to be Edmund Burke, although this is apparently false too, with the closest essence seeming to be a similar phrase from a speech by John Stuart Mill.
No, that was Mark Twain.
Yes, but couldn't you have spoken to Harry afterwards, Meghan? And, more to the point, is policing speech, even unpleasant speech, really the answer? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's necessary. And besides, we have free speech, as long as it remains within certain confines. Ah, yes, of course, the opposite to free speech.
Markle's paradox.
Ah, of course. It is also stated in the book, Meghan, that when the Queen found out you wouldn't be attending Prince Philip's funeral, she said, "Thank goodness." Yeah, well,
It's probably because Nana didn't want Meghan's delicate emotions to be roused during the sadness of the funeral.
Yeah, oh, yeah, good one, Harry. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what she meant. Thank goodness that delightful young girl hasn't got to relive the emotions of losing Prince Philip again. Yes, probably. Tom Bower also alleges that you were furious that your request for a more prominent role in the Jubilee celebration was denied. No.
A little peeved.
It has also been alleged that Prince Charles said he preferred you as private citizens rather than members of the royal family, and therefore not invited onto the balcony or into the royal carriage during the celebrations.
Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. Hey, that could be a great line for a new song. I've been working on new songs for an album, I've already got Get What's Coming to Me, 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 Get What's Coming to Me.
How could we forget? Harry's musical career aside, I think that we need to question the moral authority of a man prepared to publish this stuff, like about what Charlie says about us behind our back. I can see that would be rather distressing, though in all fairness, he's never slated you in public, whereas you kinda sorta have. And let's be honest, I don't think anyone's in any doubt that when you two are home alone and behind closed doors, you must say some pretty awful, awful things about members of the royal family.
I resent that. I resent that. It's true, but I resent it.
Sometimes you gotta just say, fine, whatever, I'm not blind. I can see the structural prejudices in their cultural arrangement, but hey, whatever. I love them all the same. Yeah, and I think that we should be able to deal with issues like this without this kind of public speculation, right? And instead be able to heal our wounds, as a family. Yes, wounds that didn't exist before you, Meghan.
Yeah.
Right. You say heal the wounds as a family, and this leads us on to another section of Tom Bower's book, where Prince Charles is said to have been irritated by your reasoning for not reconciling with your father before the wedding.
It was none of his business.
Well, perhaps, but it does imply at Meghan's inability to mend family relationships, seeing as you only speak to a few of yours, and some of them actively despise you. It's complicated. Yeah.
I think this is getting just a little bit too close to the bone, Dr. Jackson.
I know, Harry. As terrible as it may seem, we're talking about Tom Bower's new book, and I'm giving you a chance to clear up any confusion. I mean, I hate having to read this stuff out to you, all these logical criticisms of your flagrant hypocrisy. I hate having to slap you around the face with it. I mean, it gives me no pleasure at all. I'm as communist as they come. We're going to consider Tom Bower's book, Revenge, a little more. And we have a question here from a Mr. W.H. Olive, who says he got the impression from the book that you are universally disliked, even by some of those that you list as friends. Do you think that this is because you masquerade as significant, when in reality you are a talentless hack?
Not at all. I mean, Meghan's lack of talent is non-existent because she has loads. Hope, not hate.
I mean, disregarding for a second how utterly offensive that question was, in what way am I a hack? Well, Meghan, Mr. Olive does liken the royal family to a computer system and you to a high-level hacker who got in, caused a stir, and now feeds on the fallout as sustenance for her vain attempt to remain noteworthy. That's preposterous.
Yeah, it's silly.
Well, Tom Bower's book does imply, if not conclude, that you seized your opportunity to obtain fame after a premeditated strategy to do so one way or another. Yeah, well, look, there are a lot of lies in that book, you know? A lot of mistruths, not that we've bothered to read it.
We've read and reread every single word. We've read and reread every single word. I mean, there are post-it notes all over the walls back at Mission Control.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got to deal with misinformation from the outside and from the inside. No, Harry, we have not read the book.
Oh, what did I say? I mean, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's giving people ridiculous ideas. For example, like some of my friends don't even like me.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Most of her friends like her.
All of my friends like me. However, we did learn, Meghan, that after listing Serena Williams as a friend to contact for your Vanity Fair profile, she answered the call and described herself as an acquaintance rather than a friend. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Things they say, allegedly. The games they play, allegedly. Just comes to me. Another one for the album.
Yeah, okay, but who's to say that an acquaintance is less than a friend in terms of, closeness?
Yeah, who says? But what we do know is that acquaintance a much longer word. It's got like 15 letters, and friends only got 5.
6.
No, I said friend, not friends.
Yes, but Meghan, the very definition of the word acquaintance, to have knowledge of or experience of, is far less intimate than the term friend. Yeah, well, definitions, Definitions are fluid.
Definitions are racist.
Well, we have changed the definitions of riots, vaccines, and women in the last few years, and very recently we've changed the definition of recession to no longer mean 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. So, yeah, who cares about the definitions? Serena and I are very close.
Inseparable.
Which is odd, because after denying being a friend of yours, she even mocked you by saying, "You've got to be who you are, Meghan. You can't hide." Allegedly.
Allegedly. What a load of lies. Allegedly. A bunch of porky pies. Allegedly. Wow! I'm on fire!
Returning to your Vanity Fair piece in 2017, Meghan, it is reported in Tom Bower's unsolicited but unintentionally hilarious biography, Revenge, where he claims, allegedly...
Allegedly.
Please, no more. Thank you, Meghan. And it is claimed that you were furious about the tagline, "She's just wild about Harry."
The palace wasn't best pleased either.
No, Harry, yes, apparently they were furious about the launch of your relationship in such a public and unexpected way. But why were you so unhappy with it, Meghan? I wanted it to focus on my philanthropic work, things that I've achieved off my own back. But did you not consider that without your behind-the-scenes rumoured romance with Harry, a member of the British royal family, that you would have never been considered worthy of a front-page photo shoot? Why not? And I mean that line, that stupid line, "Meghan's just mad about Harry."
Wild. Said you were wild about me.
It gives the impression that I'm just some kind of appendage, leeching off of Harry's royal status. Like a parasite. Yeah.
When she's so much more than a parasite. Author, actress, philanthropist, philosopher, activist.
Ugh, the very word brings shudders, Harry. But are you honestly saying, Meghan, that you genuinely believe that Vanity Fair would have been interested in you for a photo shoot had you not have been involved with Harry? Well, what are you saying? That I was a complete unknown beforehand? Well, I'd never heard of you.
Neither had I. What? I mean, that's the story, isn't it? We didn't know anything about each other before we met and fell in love.
Yeah, right.
I, like the rest of the planet, had no idea who you were, and you had absolutely no idea who I was.
Yes, which is very believable, especially considering you'd said you'd read Princess Diana's biography. However, that does seem inconsistent with Tom Bower's characterization of you as a fame-hungry charlatan prepared to suck the life force out of a suitable British host, all in order to boost her notoriety.
And?
Well, in that case, you knew full well that no one would be interested in you without a link to someone who they were interested in.
But what about the people who watched Suits?
Yes, except for that person, Harry.
The irony is that no one was interested in Meghan before she was linked to me, because people were interested in me. But now that we are linked, nobody's interested in either of us.
Whoa, Harry. That was literally my next line.
Ooh, spooky.
We have a question here from Twickenham and a Mr. Thomas Tadpole, who wants to ask you both about the palace's investigation into bullying by Meghan, which has been completed but will not be published. I think it speaks for itself. I mean, it always was ludicrous, but I think they've decided not to publish because there was nothing to publish.
We've been fully vaccinated.
Oh, do you mean vindicated?
Possibly. But we've also been fully vaccinated. Fully.
Look, we have been vindicated, and I think it's further proof that they had it out for me from the beginning. They were prepared to perpetuate falsehoods just so they could injure my good name.
I don't ask what's in it. I don't ask what number booster it is. I just roll up my sleeve, get my shot, get a stamp on my card, and go and collect my free Krispy Kreme donut.
No, Harry, we're on our vindication at the moment. From the palace bullying probe that turned out to be a nothing burger that we always knew it would be.
Yeah, but vaccinations are an important part of the fight against COVID, against monkeypox, against bodily autonomy, and against freedom.
Yeah, I agree, Harry. It's very important. But
you're starting to sound a little bit anti-vax, Meghan.
Of course I'm not. But the question from Thomas Tadpole was about the bullying probe at the palace. I was the one being bullied.
I once had 3 vaccinations at one time. A quick nap, a blueberry muffin, then I was back in the queue for a booster or 2.
So you obviously deny all the bullying accusations against you, Meghan. Look, it's a complete joke, I mean, they had it out for me because of my race. Look at the royal family themselves. I mean, one of them actually said, whilst I was pregnant, I wonder if Archie will turn out to have a ginger afro.
I don't even drink a cup of tea anymore. I draw it up into a needle and I inject it straight into my veins. You can even mix a digestive biscuit in there, or Garibaldi, but the raisins do tend to get stuck.
Gary what?
Baldy. And the great thing about injecting my tea is that it frees up a lot of spare time that I can use concentrating on fixing mental health all around the world.
Oh, right. So everyone's a winner.
Oh, and these anti-vax idiots. I mean, I've been injected into every muscle at least twice. And look at me.
Yes, but if your aim is to combat vaccine hesitancy, then I wouldn't lead with that, Harry.
Look, don't ask me how it's done, but apparently you can click a like button or something, even a subscribe button. Rumour has it there's a notification bell and a sharing option. Like, I got no idea how to do it, but if you can work it out, I'd really appreciate it.